guys, it's Abby. Welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. It's somehow been another year since I posted a YouTube video. I promise you guys this time, I say this every time, but I promise this time I'm here to stay. Promise. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you some scary stories from the subreddit Short Scary Stories. I don't know about you, but sometimes I find myself at like 2 in the morning scrolling through all the creepy subreddits, and I gotta say, there's a lot of really interesting stuff on there. If you like this video, you can go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, you can click the subscribe button down below so you can see all of my new videos when I upload. And other than that, let's get right into the video. So our first scary story comes from the Reddit user Lighting Nations, and it's called "My Wife Confessed the Worst Thing She Ever Did." Does going ahead with my shitty tall man prank make me an even shittier husband? Maybe, but see, Emma was always gullible. Stupidly so. It was one of the things I love most about her. Honestly. We met while working part-time at a local cinema, and there we were, sweeping up leftover popcorn when she said, "What's this?" In her right hand, there was a tool belt. The projector had probably malfunctioned and some repairman forgot his equipment. As a joke, I said, "Didn't you know a construction worker died when they were building this place?" From that moment on, she wouldn't set foot inside screen 6. Didn't want to risk bumping into a ghost, you see. I thought it was cute, and just a few weeks later, my girlfriend ghosted me. So I asked Emma if she'd like to grab coffee sometime. Rather than directly tell her about the urban legend, I left some reading material scattered around, and when she suggested a different location for the camping trip, all while doing a terrible job of masking her anxiety, I knew it was game on. In between a scattering of skeletal trees, I set up our tent. Oh sure, Emma begged me to find a better, aka less scary spot, but at the same time, the soles of her feet were raw slabs of beef from the 20-mile hike, so eventually she relented. After we tucked into a pot of beef stew, we turned in for the night. Knowing the first sudden noise would spook her, I waited. Out of nowhere, she sat bolt upright in her sleeping bag. What was that? We listened as wind howled through the trees. I pretended a dry cramp seized my throat. It's the tall man. She threw her arms around me, her eyes pooling with tears. "Make it stop, please." In a high, frightened voice, I said, "The legends say the only way is to confess our sins. What bad things have we done?" Unable to speak, she just lay there, trembling. Secretly rolling my eyes, but outwardly maintaining the act, I said, "I'll go first. The last house I rented, I salted the garden because the landlord wouldn't return my deposit. And last month, I accidentally stole a Mars bar and didn't go back to pay for it." She took several deep, shuddery breaths. "I killed your college girlfriend, the one you were dating when we first met. I slit her throat and filled her backpack with rocks and dumped her body in the Black Staff River." While I lay there, shocked, tree branches scraped together roughly, Emma squealed and quickly added, "And I killed that intern from your work too, the flirty one. I cut her up and dumped the pieces in a landfill." Outside, the wind eased and the forest went back to sleep. After 10 seconds of dead silence, Emma let out a sigh of relief and then pulled me in close. When I first read that, I was not expecting that at all. Honestly, it was an incredible way to turn the story around. It looks like Emma ghosted his girlfriend. The girlfriend didn't ghost him. Let me know, did you guys see that coming? Okay, this next scary story is by the user Fig Banana, and it's called "There is no emergency at the morgue." The morgue is the only place in this hospital at which there is no emergency, a senior technician told me into my first shift. That advice is etched in my brain every shift 20 years into the job. Tonight, just like every shift, I walked around the place, made sure nothing was out of place, then retreated to my call room and locked the door. My phone rings. A doctor upstairs requests a transfer for an unfortunate patient who just coded half an hour ago. I ask him about the paperwork. He tells me to get my ass up here and do my job. I hang up the phone. The poor soul has already been dead, so obviously it is no emergency. My job is not the most important one in the hospital, but I do have principles and dignity. Mutual respect is the bare minimum if we are to work together, so I won't tolerate that. My phone rings again. A coroner requests to transfer a body, to keep it for some experts to examine further in the morning. She's nice, so I open the cold room for her to transfer the corpse. The case is a little bit sensitive, so I've heard, but I don't really care. Locker 3, row D. We sign the paperwork, and I slam the cold room shut. My phone rings for the third time. Some faint voice asks me if I am not curious about what happened to the body in locker 3D. I say no and hang up. Curiosity is not an emergency. Probably I will find out about the body in locker 3D in tomorrow's newspaper. Not tonight. Someone knocks on my door. I glance at the security camera. No one is there, so there is no reason for me to get on my chair. Unseen entities are not an emergency. Something slams hard on the wall. I check the security feed. Locker 3D is wide open. Other lockers are ajar. The bodies are climbing out, growling, hissing. Some pushing themselves against the door, trying to escape the cold room. Good luck with that, I smirk. Fluids and body parts fling across the room. The morning team and the experts are going to have a fun day. Reanimated corpses, though, are not an emergency. I yawn and quickly fall asleep. My phone alarm rings. It's 7 a.m. The experts arrive, all in hazmat suits, some with guns. They barge in and pin down the corpses with swift efficiency and drag the bodies on autopsy tables. I love watching them work. I always tell my coworkers, in case of an apocalyptic event, I want to be with these guys and gals. Right now, it's not my job to be with them, though. The morning team arrives at 8 a.m. I show them the monitor. They see that the experts are not done yet, so we have some cups of coffee together. I quickly jot down last night's events in the logbook and conclude by only 2 words. No emergency. I love that the situation just keeps getting worse and worse, and this guy does not care at all. He'd for sure survive a horror movie because he didn't go and investigate. I definitely would die first because I am curious about what happened to the body in locker 3D. Our third story is by the user OKAntelope6912 and it is called I Am Scared of My Daughter. My daughter, 5 years old, is a beautiful little girl. But recently she has exhibited disturbing behavior. I do not want to admit this because I am not sure if this is a result of my bad parenting. I am a single mother and trying my best, but sometimes my beautiful daughter Haley worries me. At night, she screams and scratches on the walls. During the day, she tells me about her past life in which she had 2 parents and a brother. I am wondering if this is because that is what she actually wants and pretends that's what she has. It scares me. More often, she doesn't let me touch her and tells me I'm not her real mother. It absolutely breaks my heart. I know this is a terrible thing to think, but I'm starting to regret kidnapping her. I know that one's like really short compared to the other 2 so far, but that last line just really got me. Like, the reason why she, in her past life, thinks that she had 2 parents and a brother is because I'm sure that's her old family. Like, this lady kidnapped her, and now she's having, like, memories of her parents and stuff. That is crazy. I also hope that that's not real. Okay, our final short story of the video is by the user Castiel the Unicorn, and it's just called Him. Him was the imaginary monster in my closet. His name, a grammatical choice my 4-year-old self thought was the greatest name in the history of names, was just him. They're not putting that on a baby blanket anytime soon. I had apparently described him as a tall man with glasses, but I never saw his face. My mother, of course, thought it was all childhood imagination, keeping my mind busy late at night when I couldn't fall asleep. I don't remember much about him, seeing as the last time I'd ever seen him was when I was 6 years old. A door creak woke me up from my slumber, and assuming it was my mother, I pretended to be asleep. But I heard some talking, some whispers between 2 people that my sleep-deprived self couldn't hear correctly. One thing I did notice is that they did not sound like my mother. Rough voices that struck fear into my little heart, clutching the blankets because something wasn't right. Where had Mother been? Why wasn't she here? Who are these intruders? Through all my panic, I almost didn't hear the closet door open, but somehow I did. I peeked an eye open, wondering exactly what was going on. A man with a scar running down his eye met my own eyes, and I froze yet again. He grinned, his unstraight, almost black teeth sending chills throughout my body. He took out an object, one I couldn't see, glinting in the moonlight of my open window. I braced for the impact of what it was, shutting my eyes tight. A gun, a knife maybe, but the impact never came. Him was there. The man looked at him with fear in his eyes, dropping the shining object as the monster I called my friend wrapped his hand around his throat, lifting him as if he were lighter than a feather. He snapped to the right, his body twitching for a moment or 2 before he fell limp, him throwing him like a rag doll. The other man stood in fear, me almost forgetting there were 2. The light shut out completely, leaving me in total, vulnerable darkness. When I could finally see again, the men were gone. Him as well, and I ran down to find my unconscious mother lying on the ground. I ran to the phone, calling the number I had been told to call in case of an emergency. They found the men in the creek 2 days later, their bodies twisted at unnatural angles, their eyes pulled out of their sockets, organs in the wrong places, limbs ripped apart like paper. Of course, nobody believed a 6-year-old's imagination that the man in my closet was real. The case was never solved, and him disappeared from my life. That was 15 years ago. Now I sit in the bathroom with the door locked as my husband comes home from the bar. I hear the door click open, and I shut my eyes as his drunken voice rings through the house. But I am not scared, because through my panic, I can hear the closet door in my room open. Looks like him is back to save the day again. I don't know why, but I'm picturing like a Slender Man kind of a guy. Honestly, like, this is kind of a wholesome story. The monster bestie in the closet who saves the day on multiple occasions. That's the kind of monster I want under my bed. One that protects me from horrible husbands and intruders. Well, that was the... I don't know what that was. That was really dramatic for no reason. That was the final story in today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love reading Reddit scary stories, so I thought it'd be fun to share that with you guys as well. Definitely gonna be doing some videos with some no sleep stories, so those will be a little bit longer. Maybe some spooky TikToks, glitch in the matrix stuff, all my favorite things, honestly. So again, if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Click the subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified when I upload my next video, which will be next Sunday at 2 o'clock. That's going to be my regular posting time, Sundays, 2 p.m. PST. Be there or be square. That was really lame. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week. Bye!